organization like ZIMURA. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about the objectives, which is the mandate that you gave us. I'm going to talk about the legal framework, the laws that we use or that we enforce as an organization. I'm also going to talk about the structure of the organization, departments within ZIMURA, the rights that you gave us to manage or administer ZIMURA, the obligations of a broadcaster. Broadcasters are music users. So as a broadcaster, they've got an obligation to comply with the laws that we're going to talk about. I'm also going to give you an international perspective, just an area of view of how we relate to the international space in terms of protection of music in Zimbabwe. And we've got challenges and then my conclusion. So, why do we create music? I want someone to answer. Why do we create music?
Entertain, to spread the messages, whichever kind of messages we have, bereavement, happiness, or whatever, gospel, to spread the message and to entertain. That's what
That's good for you.
Can be created. This is a way of making money.
Perfect. Let's go to my face is a good and over what just your intellectual mind. This is just a conversation that we are having. And I'm here, you are there, but we are having a conversation around our business of music, isn't it? Yes. So when I ask questions, I also expect you guys to participate freely. Amidiga? Sisogi? Good. Right, so thank you very much for those answers. Those answers are very correct. We entertain through music, we inform people through music, we correct people through music, we give advice to other people through music. We make people happy to dance and forget about these other things. You spoke about my funerals, my birthday parties, all these other events that forms our social fabric. But there's an important aspect that was raised to make money. If you ask the ones who gospel, I compose to praise God, to worship God. Yes, you do that, it's good, but you need to make money. God gave you that gift in order for you to make a living out of it. Some are soccer players, some are lawyers. Those are different giftings God gave them to earn a living. So, as a musician, you need to understand you are in it for money. And this is why we exist. And this is why some of you guys are here. Some of you guys who have been members of Zimbabwe Music Rights Association have received some money. So you are in it for money. So I'm going to talk about, this is my introduction, yes, exclusive rights. These are rights that are given to right holders through the Copyright Act. When we say exclusive rights, we are talking about you, yourself, and none other person than you. If you compose your piece of work, you have got 100% control over that piece of work. So it means that anyone who wants to exploit your work has to get permission from you. If a broadcaster wants to play music, they need to pay. If Pick and Pay plays music or Bar X plays music, they need to pay. If you don't want, you can withdraw your music. It's allowed. No Butchi exclusive right. And it is. So when we create music, we don't create music for our own consumption. As musicians, we create music for the fans, for the consumers, isn't it? So we need to understand when you create your piece of music, who consumes my music? Who uses my music? How is my music consumed? Where? You're supposed to understand that as the owner of the property. So bars, broadcasters, shops, even churches, they praise God using your music. They consume your music. Even if your pastor uses his praise and worship team to perform your songs in church, you need to be paid for that. And right, so we create music for commercial purposes. Commercial, it means we are doing business, we are trading here. We know that we are producing a product, it's going somewhere, and when I produce that product, I've incurred some expenses in producing, I've invested time in it, Katrama sleeve, we are saying, to put some recording label, what. You need to understand all that. So you create for commercial purpose. And those who use your music, they've got an obligation to pay. So, Zimbabwe Music Rights Association, as a CMO, we make sure that we've got reciprocal agreements with other societies to make sure your rights are protected here in Zimbabwe, they are protected regionally, and they are also protected internationally. Because in other countries like Botswana, South Africa, Kenya, UK, any other country world over, they've got organizations similar to ZIMURA. They do the same in their own territory. But how can they protect your right? Because when you compose your music, it may be played in Botswana, it may be played in South Africa, or in Zambia, or in any part of the world. But you need to be paid. How is that? We have to have agreements with other societies to do that in their own different territories. This makes it easier for the administration of your rights, because if ZIMURA was not there, it was going to be difficult for you to monitor, even in Zimbabwe alone, where your music is being played, to negotiate for the licenses and to make sure that you get your money. So we thank God for the founders, those that started the Zimbabwe Music Rights Association, so that it bridges the gap between the user of music and the owner of music. So ZIMURA is at the center. When you register with ZIMURA, you give us the mandate, and when I go to the broadcaster, I go to the broadcaster saying, I've got this mandate from different artists, locally, regionally, and internationally. For the music that you are playing, you need to pay for it so that we pay them. This is simple.